you haven't seen one of these, first part sports tech, second part nature. So first part for today, I thought just to provide a summary of actually what it is that we do at FanCam, because I've touched in previous videos on specific use cases, but I really haven't summarized our core business. So just to understand that, there are two elements to it. The first is the content part. That's what we've been doing for 10 years. You may have seen these images, but we take the highest resolution images in the world. We use it in sports and entertainment venues. It allows fans to zoom in, find themselves in the crowd, and share that image with friends, family, and on social media. So it's cool tech. It's used as a fan engagement platform. So it keeps fans happy. It also keeps sponsors happy because you can brand the whole environment, and because it's a positive interaction with fans, brands love it. So think of it as a digital billboard with predictable engagement numbers. Because it is predictable, if you've done it enough times, we have a good estimation of how many people will engage with an image like that. We've done more than 2,000 events on 6 continents. Okay, so that's FanCam. Then there's a second part of the business that we called CrowdIQ. It's not fan-facing or public-facing, so it's not as well described, but it's really interesting. CrowdIQ, what we do there is we analyze crowds. We deliver data on the composition and behavior of crowds. I think before I go into more detail, just it's important to state that we're not interested in the individual. So this is not facial recognition. Facial recognition is where you have images and names and in a database, and you try and identify people, and it's creepy. We don't do that. We are interested in the crowd as an organism. What's the average age? What's the male-female distribution? How does it change with the success or failure of a team? What's the impact on start times, on ingress, stuff like that. And there are a couple of data categories, things that you can extract from these images. The first is, well, demographics. So as I mentioned, male-female distribution. We can tell the team how many millennials, how many fans over the age of 65 compared to pre-COVID, stuff like that. It's fascinating because the ages are often quite different to what the teams think they are, just based on the fact that teams get that information from ticket sales. And I'm a 44-year-old male, so I buy the ticket, so that's the average age, but I take my 12-year-old and 10-year-old and 6-year-old. So that's not the average age. But the team doesn't have that data. We do. We can scan all the faces. We can get accurate age ranges and provide the team with an accurate age distribution graph of a crowd for a particular night. Demographics. The other piece of data that's almost binary but really powerful is just, is there someone in that seat, particular seat, or not? So we can extract that, which becomes really interesting if you take multiple images, which is what we do. So we can tell teams when fans are in their seats, how long before a game or how long into a game the crowd fills up, and when they leave, which is really interesting, or has really interesting applications in managing your staffing and things like that. So that's the second one. Third is attention tracking, which is it's a new category but really interesting. We're able to use these high-resolution images to detect how many people are looking at the big screen, how many people are looking at their phones, how many people are actually watching the game. And if you do that on a per-second basis in the way that we do, and you overlay on top of it what was actually on the big screen, suddenly you have like Google Analytics but for a venue. You can tell the team which of the ads worked best. You can use data to determine the best times to play an ad, which public announcements worked, which didn't, and lots of interesting stuff. But it's a really cool data category. And then there are subcategories after that. So for instance, now, due to COVID, we added categories in terms of mask detection. So how many people are wearing masks, how far are people sitting from each other. I think that's going to be important going forward. But also things like merch identification. So one team wanted to know how many fans are wearing the home team's jersey and how many are wearing the visiting team's jersey. So all cool stuff like that. And these data sets are really interesting, or reports are really interesting when read on their own, but they become fascinating if you combine them with existing data sets from the team side. The goal of the whole story is to try and get a better understanding of the crowd, because crowds are valuable. The sports business is built around our ability to attract and keep crowds. So understanding them is important. And there's a lot of tribal psychology, and this can be seen in our data sets. So yeah, that's CrowdIQ, and it's a fascinating world. It took a long time to build it, but it's automated now, and the data is just fascinating. So yeah, that's it. On to nature. I am in one of my favorite places, the Kruger National Park, specifically the northern part, where not many people come to visit. And I'm at a hide. Well, let me show you. Let me just flip this thing around. Up there in the tree, we have a African fish eagle. Hopefully he decides to catch dinner soon. I can take a picture. But until then, I will enjoy the illies. It's brilliant to see them, just specifically around water, the interactions. This is where pecking order becomes important. And then there's little ones, they don't care, they just want to get to their mom and suckle. So they get squashed in between sometimes. This is a calm group, it's a hot day, so maybe that keeps them lazy, and all. That's why they have relatively low energy. But yeah, it's just a wonderful sight and a privilege. And this guy's going to come say goodbye. Hello.